There is one word which I'm pretty sure can send a shiver up any killer main's spine, and that word is SWF. And one way to add even more dread to that word is by making it a SWF of TTVs. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. A TTV SWF that basically epitomizes the concepts of entitlement, saltiness, and pretty much everything else that you could possibly imagine, but with a bit of a twist. Now, before we get started, of course, please do remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of these guys and of the topic I'm going to be talking about. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. And without much further ado, let's get on with it. So I was sent an email and it basically contained a match that Amaya's had against a group of TTVs. The TTVs we're going to be talking about today. Now, there are a lot of players involved here. So to make it a little bit easier, we're going to be attributing some colors to each of these people, and their subtitles and the captions are going to match those colors just to make it a little bit easier for you guys. The main TTV, the one whose footage we are looking at today, will be called Blue. One of their friends, who we'll call the loudest of the group, is going to be called Red, and the third one is going to be called Green. Now, there is a fourth player who plays with them, but they don't really say much, so I'm not going to attribute them a name. So now that that's sorted, let's check out the match in question.
Okay, you aimed at that fence and I still get hit. That's cool.
Yep.
A way far distance too.
So this is going to kind of set the tone, okay? I'm pretty sure that every single time he goes down, every single time you see him go down in this video, he will, without doubt, complain about the fact that the hit didn't actually hit him. So keep an eye out for that. So the fourth person goes down. Second gen is done. Blue is already 50% on a gen as well. 2 hooks. 2 gens down. Now, this is not a very nice position for the killer to be in. I think anybody who plays killer at all can verify that. There's not a lot of pressure that this killer has. They're playing Mikey as well, which is like the weakest killer in the game, low-key. So the killer chooses to leave Red on the floor and go after the person who was just unhooked. Is it tunneling? Yes. Of course it is. It's tunneling. You literally are going after the person who was just unhooked. Is it justified? In my opinion, absolutely it is. This guy, as I've said, 3 gens down, 2 hooks. He needs to get some pressure back. And to be honest, the best way to get that pressure is to go after the person who's just unhooked and is injured. And you also leave somebody on the floor, which means that that's one less person who's going to be doing gens or trying to get in the way of the save.
Not me.
Yep. He's checking these things pro again. Yeah, so we're gonna play tunnel.
Cowards game.
These guys have a lot to immediately say about the fact that he tunneled without really seeing it from the killer's perspective. Now, this isn't all to say, of course, that it's not frustrating to go up against a killer who's tunneling, because of course it is. It makes your job as survivors significantly harder because you can't get that pressure that you just had as easily. It is frustrating, but it's also kind of understandable.
He's chasing me.
Now, what is also good to notice is that the killer doesn't even camp the fourth on hook, but goes after somebody else and then comes back to the hook to try and again put that pressure on.
Yeah, he's just playing like an asshole because he can.
Because he can. No, it's because he needs the pressure. This is what is baffling to me about these kind of SWFs. And like, this is the first game and we're like 5 minutes in. These guys are already being like, this guy's playing like an asshole because he can. No, man, he's playing smart. He's playing as a killer who needs to get the pressure back in the game. You not seeing that and you refusing almost to see that doesn't mean that they're playing like an asshole. It just means that you're not seeing it from the other side's point of view. And that statement that I've just made, I feel like sums up the Dead by Daylight community and its toxicity as a whole. There is a pure denial to see what the other side is going through. You don't see the fact that you guys have just busted out 3 gens. The killer has 2 hooks and therefore probably needs to put some pressure back on in any way they can in order to have a chance of winning the game. It's things like this that if we could just see from each other's perspective a little bit, then maybe it would be a nicer, better place full of more GGs, happy thoughts. But I digress. Let's keep going with the video. Okay, so at this point, Red is on the floor, and Red has specifically said to his teammates to leave him on the floor. Let him slug.
Oh yeah, he's doing it again. Okay, don't pick me up. I'm going for a pout. I'm gonna crawl to a pout. Yeah, I've got tenacity and stuff. I'll be all right.
I don't know why, but Red has said that.
So getting
I feel
along.
like you can tell a lot about a killer, like as a person.
Don't worry about me, monster. Don't worry about picking me up.
Did you hear that? Are you seriously trying to tell me, good sir, that you think that because somebody tunnels in a video game, there's some sort of insinuation that in a real life scenario, they're a bad person. That there is you taking the game too seriously, and that there is a clear sign that you need to turn off your console and go outside and touch some grass. Okay, because you are way too deep in the game and you are putting way too much emphasis on a video game in comparison to real life. All right, you need to calm yourself down, please. So the fourth person goes out. Now we're down to one gen left. One person is still on the floor. Red is still on the floor because he again said, leave me on the floor. Not a bad position for the survivors to be in at all. There is a very high possibility that they could bring this back. But let's see what happens.
Oh yeah, he's gonna leave me slug.
He's going to leave you slug because he probably has no idea where you are. Blue goes down, and the killer hooks her next to the gen that the other two are working on.
He's going to come over here.
As you can see there. I want... Okay. Now, there is a thing which we often talk about called karma. And there is a thing which you often see survivors do where they bitch and moan at the killers and they trash talk the killer. Now, you are about to see an instance of that paired with karma in its finest. So he starts chasing Red.
You missed. You suck. You have to tunnel. You're garbage.
The breath of the words that he was saying has barely exited his mouth, and my boy goes down. And let's go back as well to this idea of the killer is garbage. Man, the killer right now has just turned the game around in a pretty fucking impressive way. He's now got one person out of the game. He's got two people hooked. He's got one person down again. He's doing quite well, I think. And this idea of because the killer is winning, they're garbage. I mean, I don't even feel like I have to say anything anymore to that kind of stuff.
No,
yeah, he's gonna slug.
No, he's picking me up this time. No, he's picking me up this time.
Wow.
This time. In the second scenario, where Red was slugged for the longest amount of time, he had crawled away from where he was originally downed and crawled into a pallet. Okay, unless the killer has some sort of aura reading perk, he's not going to know where you are. But again, these survivors don't see that. They don't ever see it. It's just immediate like, oh, he's slugging, he's bad, he's a terrible killer. It's like, maybe just try and think about it from their perspective. Just once. So Red gets hooked.
Dude, you might as well camp with how you're playing.
You might as well camp with how you're playing. He wants it. He wants the camp. He doesn't camp, by the way. He goes after. He goes after green.
He's just being an asshole.
Why is he being an asshole?
Well, let's just go ahead and do this. I might as well.
Yeah. What just happened there? Right. What just happened there? Red gets hooked. Says you may as well camp with how you're playing. Red then decides that the killer's an asshole and decides that his best course of action is to try and 4% off the hook, despite the fact that Blue is obviously making her way over to him. He takes himself to second stage and he throws the game. Right there now, the Myers has one person on second stage. He has one person down. He has one person injured. It's pretty much game over at this point because he threw with the 4%. Because he rage quit the game. And he blames it on the Myers. And he's like, the Myers is an asshole. No, you're just a sore loser. Like, that's all it is. You just cannot handle the fact that the Myers did something that made your job as a survivor, a little bit more difficult.
That range should not have hit me. That was... All these killers are just playing like crap today.
Basic tier 2 Myers, no, more like basic tier bitch.
That wasn't the insult you thought it was, my guy. You need to calm yourself down, alright? Like, more like basic tier 2 bitch. So Blue gets hooked, doesn't get hatch.
And then he's face camping.
My brother in Christ. He's face camping? There is no one left in the game. Everyone is dead. What do you mean he's face camping? This is... What? He's face camping the last person alive in the game? You said that with 100% sincerity? Alright. Alright.
He thinks he's good.
You are...
Not
crap.
Good. You're garbage.
I mean, he just 4K'd. So... says to me that you guys might be garbage.
Oh, and then the audacity say GG. No.
No.
Not even close.
I mean, by all accounts, it was a GG, let's be honest. The killer had 2 hooks when 3 gens were down, and they managed to turn that into a 4K with 1 gen left. That's a pretty fucking good game in my eyes. Like, fair play to the killer. Well done. Now, when I was watching this video, something really stuck out to me. And this is the twist that I was talking about earlier. And that was that Blue didn't really say much. And I found that quite interesting. And I wanted to watch some more of their content, as I normally do anyway. And I wanted to see if this was just like a game that she was quiet on, or if something else was at play. So I went and I found a ghosty game with the same group of survivors, because these guys often swift together. Yeah, and then we're going to talk about something afterwards, because I do have a point to make. So at this point in the game, we've got green is on hook, red is being chased, as you can just see, they've just taken a hit, and blue and the fourth member are both on a gen. Obviously, this means that the killer is not camping. To me, anyway, it does, considering they're chasing somebody else.
He's going back.
Killer then goes back to the hook after the gen's been complete. Makes sense.
Yep, he's being crap.
He's literally being this toxic piece of shit.
Why is he being a toxic piece of shit, please? Please explain it to me, because I'm confused. It just feels like as soon as the game goes in a way that is not beneficial for these guys, they complain. Anything that makes it easier for the killer to progress their objective is immediately bad, and you're a toxic piece of shit. But these guys can bring in brand new parts and 2-mana gen into next year, and it doesn't matter. The hypocrisy, I feel like, needs to be mentioned, because it is far too common to hear things like this in the community. So you can hear the killer terror radius fade away there. Killer's gone. No camp is taking place. So the killer comes in as blue is unhooking the fourth member of the team. And the killer, despite the fact that the fourth member is on death hook and injured, puts chase on blue. But they won't mention that. So as the person who has been hooked, red comes to try and get the unhook.
Yeah, I'm
Fair
right
point.
Here. Really? Go.
As the killer comes back to the hook as well.
I would have teabagged him if I'd had time, but yeah, he's just gonna camp. Do the gens, let me die.
Okay.
Just do the gens and let me die.
This is the exact same thing he did in the last game that we just watched. He has this mentality, as soon as he goes down and he's decided that the killer's an asshole, he's like, yeah, just let me die. And he specifically tells people to not come and save him, to leave him slugged on the floor, to let him be camped, to basically leave him to die on the hook. The guy is literally telling people to do one thing and then blaming the killer for the fact that happened. It's so weird. What do you mean? I'm so confused.
Person off on their own. To my left. He's heading for you.
That hit did not even hit me. That was way out of range.
Yep, just let him decide to camp me. Let him do it.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Let him decide to camp me? He was literally just chasing green.
Do gens. Just do fucking gens. Do not try and save. Let him have the one kill. He's gotten more than he deserves already. You're an embarrassment for a ghost face killer.
You're an embarrassment? But the killer's not an embarrassment. If anything, you're the embarrassment as to survivor mains. You take no responsibility for your mistakes. You constantly bitch at the killers when they've done nothing. You constantly tell your teammates to let you die and then moan that the killer is doing something wrong in the fact that you died. Don't try and say that other people are an embarrassment when your behavior is embarrassing as it is. All right? Don't try and project like that. It ain't gonna work. Red goes second stage.
He's just hanging out right here with me. So just do the gens.
Probably waiting for someone to save, as a normal team would if they hadn't been told not to.
Just this is the only way he can play. It's the only way he knows how to play. It's sad.
Just baby killers.
Mm-hmm.
Just baby killers. Oh my god. Isn't it funny how many survivors bring that up as an insult when they start to lose a game? Makes no sense. A baby killer is whooping your asses right now, so how do you feel?
He might as well be face camping me. Just do gens.
He might as well be face camping? Does that mean he's not face camping?
Bad killer. Oh no, I have this one blocked already. Yeah. I already have this one blocked. They're on Xbox. Yeah.
Yep.
He fucking blocks killers? Oh my god. If anybody new to the community is wondering what a salty and entitled survivor actually looks like, it's this guy. It's how he behaves, how he talks about the killers, how he plays, all of that, everything he does, it's just textbook for me. Throughout the game, you heard the survivors talking and bitching about the killer. But again, you didn't really hear Blue doing it. For the second game that I found, and to be fair, I kept going, I kept looking through games, and this is a thing which I see pretty much constantly, blue stays quiet. For me, I think it was all summed up after this game because somebody actually came into chat and reacted to the people in her SWF calling this killer a baby killer. And they said, I have to say, calling them a baby killer isn't fair because even when I first played killer, I often had every person escape because I refused to be a camper. This is just a certain kind of killer that plays this way no matter what level of experience they have. But what's interesting to me is how Blue responds to that message.
Yeah, it's true. I agree with that, Pop Dart.
She agrees with it. But why didn't you say that before? The whole match, they were bitching at this killer. They were moaning at this killer. They were calling him a baby killer, but you didn't say a thing. And that is the twist that I want to talk about today. I have watched multiple games with these guys. And in every single one, it is exactly like this. It is Red bitching and moaning at the killers as soon as something goes not his way. It is Green complaining that the hits shouldn't have actually hit. And they have a few other people who like sub in and out who also bitch and moan as well. But the one common thing which I never see is Blue moaning. First of all, she doesn't really moan or bitch at the killer. She says a few things here and there, but that's about it. And 2, not calling out her friends. Now, I understand that confrontation is hard, especially when you're streaming. When you're live, it's really hard to call out anybody, but you do have a responsibility as the person who owns this channel for what you broadcast. Like, think about it. As a killer, if you were one of the killers who went against these guys, if you then went and watched this VOD back, as somebody literally did to then send me this footage, you're not going to get a good vibe from that. And that's on you. I want to go back to the email that I mentioned earlier. The subject line literally said, toxic SWF of TTVs. And that's important because it's everyone. It's all 4 of the people in the SWF. It's not just the one person who may have actually been the problem. Everybody gets lumped into it. And this now goes for everybody. If one person, even just one person in your SWF is toxic or entitled or salty or anything that is bad in the Dead by Daylight community and is actually making it a less fun place to be for the majority of people, and you don't call them out, then you're all the problem. Every single one of you. And especially if you're streaming. And if I make it a bit more personal, everybody knows what I stand for now. If you watch my videos, if you watch my stream, you know that I'm trying to make Dead by Daylight a nicer place to be. I'm trying to call out toxic behavior and toxic stupid idiots, basically. But how would you feel if you came into my stream and I was doing a SWF and I had somebody like this on my comms and didn't say anything about it? You would hold me accountable. You would lose respect for me. And I would lose respect for me in that scenario. And in this situation, if you do have a friendship group like this, you can do one of 2 things. The first one, if you are comfortable enough, is to confront them. The second thing, of course, if you're not comfortable with that, because again, not everybody is comfortable with confrontation, is to just not play with them. You don't have to necessarily stop hanging out with that person and cut the friendship, of course, but that doesn't mean that you have to also keep playing with them. Because if we go back to this streamer, she actually seems quite nice. She seems really chill. She has a really good relationship with the people in her chat. She's very chatty. She's very nice. And it's a real shame that the people she plays with, in my opinion, tarnish her reputation. Because I wouldn't be comfortable in this chat. And that is kind of the whole point I'm making here, is that if you don't call people out on their crap while you're on comms with them, while you're in a SWF with them, especially if you're a streamer, then it also reflects poorly on you. I wanted to approach this video with a bit more of a message, I guess, a way for people to actually have some action points to counteract toxic behavior in the community. And I hope that you guys have seen that and understand that, and maybe even taken something away from this video as well. But I digress, and we'll leave it there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please do leave a like and comment down below what you thought of these guys and everything that I've said at the end just now. And if you haven't already and want to see more fabulous Dead by Daylight content like this, please do subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you in the community. But for now, go out there and be the best damn Krunks that you can be. Stay hydrated, stay safe, stay positive, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. I'm taking that crown from you.